Tonight, we will reflect on Matthew chapter 14, verses 22 to 33. Matthew chapter 14, verses 22 to 33. Then he made the disciples get into the boat and go before him to the other side, while he dismissed the crowds. And after he had dismissed the crowds, he went up on the mountain by himself to pray. When evening came, he was there alone, but the boat by this time was many furlongs distant from the land, beaten by the waves, for the wind was against them. And in the fourth watch of the night, he came to them, walking on the sea. But when the disciples saw him walking on the sea, they were terrified, saying, "It is a ghost." And they cried out for fear. But immediately he spoke to them, saying, "Take heart, it is I, have no fear." And Peter answered him, "Lord, if it is you, bid me come to you on the water." He said, "Come." So Peter got out of the boat and walked on the water, and came to Jesus. But when he saw the wind, he was afraid and began to sink. He cried out, "Lord, save me." Jesus immediately reached out his hand and caught him, saying to him, "O man of little faith, why did you doubt?" And when they got into the boat, the wind ceased, and those in the boat worshipped him, saying, "Truly, you are the Son of God." So we all went through this, right? We were all in the boat of our life before Christ came, before we saw him, and we asked him, "What do you want from me? Let me come to you on the water." Peter was the only one to walk on water because he was the only one who, looking at Christ, asked him, "What do you want from me?" I don't think Peter would have gotten out of that boat unless Christ had asked him. Christ's invitation always comes with the courage to accept it. When we focus on Christ, we have faith. And when we have faith, we have the ability to walk on water. Peter got out of the boat, and he started walking on the waves, amidst all the chaos, all the craziness of the world. He got out of that boat and abandoned himself to Christ. When we're above the waves, we can see things clearly. We can see Christ right in front of us. Everything seems inconsequential. We can bear witness to others as Christ, as Peter, bore witness to the apostles. We were meant to be creatures of the land. We're not supposed to be under the water. When we're under the water, we die. This is adoration for us. When we're looking at Christ and he's giving us strength to live each day. And in the Mass, when we receive Christ, Christ always gives us the courage to live out our vocation and to do what he wishes. But this isn't the end of the story. Peter, seeing all the craziness, the chaos around him, he looks away from Christ. And because he looks away from Christ, he falls beneath the waves. When we're beneath the waves, things aren't clear. Everything's blurry. Faith is obscure. Peter can't see the form of Christ clearly anymore. We all have these moments in our lives when our faith is shaken, when we're faltering, when we feel like we're going to sink beneath the waves. In those moments, we need to look back to Christ in adoration. He can strengthen us. He can renew us. Peter can't see anything clearly except for the hand of Christ reached down beneath the waves. It's an invitation, and all Peter needs to do is to accept it. To go back to Christ, we have to acknowledge that we are not God, that we are weak, that we don't have everything under control. And that's what Peter does. He grabs Christ's hand. So Christ pulls him up, and he brings him home. He brings him back to the boat. Faith restored. In our lives, when we feel alone or afraid, anxious, overwhelmed, we need to go to Christ, because he's the one who can pull us back. He's the only one who can pull us back. We can't rely on ourselves. We have to rely on him. When the storm of life threatens to sink our boat, look to Christ. When we're walking on the water towards Christ, and we falter and we sink, look to Christ, grab his hand. When we're going throughout each day of our lives, look at Christ, because when we keep our gaze on Christ, we receive faith, and when we have faith, we can walk on water.